Welcome to Stars, Stripes, and Insights, a podcast by the U.S. Mission to the UAE. I'm Dalia Yudin, head of the Public Affairs section of the U.S. Consulate in Dubai. And today I have the honor to have with me on the podcast Governor Phil Murphy from the great state of New Jersey. Governor Murphy is here in the UAE and in the region leading a trade delegation to Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and the UAE. And he's also been to Abu Dhabi earlier this week. Welcome, Governor.
Nice to be with you. A couple of Jersey folks, by the way, together here.
Very excited about that. Yes. And we're here on our podcast series on innovation diplomacy. And Governor, I was so excited to read as a fellow New Jersey alumni of all of the great things happening in the state right now. You're leading a lot of initiatives to promote innovation and venture capital, and CNBC has rated New Jersey as the most improved for business. Could you tell us a little bit about the initiatives that you've launched in New Jersey to improve the business climate?
You bet. It's, by the way, very good to be with you. I'm a former diplomat. I was our ambassador to Germany, so I'm getting real good diplomacy and State Department vibes here. So thank you for having me. New Jersey's legacy is that of an innovation state. Thomas Edison, Bell Labs, Albert Einstein, the list goes on and on. Light bulbs, film, the transistor. So what we've tried to do is recapture our legacy. We're not trying to start from scratch because we've already got that in our bones. And now we're in year 8. So far, so good. I wish we could make cars, trucks, chemicals, all the sort of metal bender industries that we used to also be known for. But the fact of the matter is today we're bio, pharma, life science, tech, telecom, increasingly generative artificial intelligence, film, television, digital, green economy, fintech, things like that. So we've basically doubled down. We've invested in those sectors. We've started 10 strategic innovation centers directed at those sectors. And I'm trying to find some wood here. So far, so good. We have more people living in New Jersey right now than ever before, more people employed than ever before, more businesses in operation than ever before. Now, all that goes with responsibility, roads, trains, housing, seats in schools. But that's a challenge that we'll take. So far, so good. You're on a journey. You never sort of put a bow around this, but I love the way we're headed. And by the way, I love being out here because we're pitching Jersey, and this mission has been really successful so far.
Yeah, and you're pitching it in a place that's known for innovation as well.
You bet.
You mentioned AI. UAE has the first AI minister in the world. And I know your delegation includes some AI companies as well. Would you tell us a little bit more about what's going on?
Very exciting. And again, you said it right. Saudi, Bahrain, UAE. I'll focus on the UAE for a minute. All 3 places very successful. By the way, I've got a delegation of 42 people, so we came out here strong across a whole range of sectors, higher education as well. But AI is right center stage. About 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more, we went out to the Bay Area and asked a lot of the leading lights at AI, why are you all out here? And the answer came back, talent. So we said, wait a minute, let's look in the mirror as a state. We've got talent. We're, as I mentioned, a big legacy of innovation, #1 public education system in America, great universities. No reason why we can't, if we're intentional about it, become an East Coast analog to the Bay Area as it relates to AI. So we started down that road. The big headline has been we've launched one of these strategic innovation centers I mentioned is the NJ AI Hub with Princeton University, New Jersey, state of New Jersey, Microsoft, and CoreWeave, a New Jersey company, one of the companies in our delegation, a fast-growing hyperscaler, just went public a few weeks ago, and it's working. People have acknowledged, you know what, this is a really good fit. AI with New Jersey, Princeton, Microsoft, CoreWeave, and others, we can begin to develop that AI talent ecosystem, and that's exactly what's happening.
That's great, because the UAE recently, there's a lot of high-level visits. We have a presidential visit coming up as well.
We do.
And the UAE president also visited recently, and there's been big announcements of a $1.4 billion investment in
Trillion.
Trillion. Sorry.
Who's counting with trillion?
Yeah, trillion. So maybe there's opportunities at the subnational.
We see it the same way. Absolutely.
Yesterday, the U.S. UAE Business Council hosted your delegation for a reception.
Yeah.
You talked about some of the infrastructure work that you're doing as well. And for those who don't know, New Jersey has world-class airports, one of the largest seaports in the country as well. And recently, United Airlines launched a direct flight between Dubai and Newark Airport. So how are you seeing all of this infrastructure supporting your plans?
Yeah, I mean, our infrastructure actually underpins our pitch globally. New Jersey sells really well around the world, and one of the reasons it sells is our connectivity. It's not the only reason, but it's one of the reasons. So for instance, very early tomorrow morning, I'll be taking that United flight nonstop with my wife and daughter who are on the mission with me from Dubai to Newark, that 15-hour journey. But that's a big deal. You know, when you travel around the world, and you could say definitively, you can get to New Jersey easily, in most cases nonstop. That's a big deal. You know, we do a lot. I'll give you another example outside the region. So the GCC, that's a huge part of our pitch. You know, India, where we've got a huge South Asian, in particular Indian presence in New Jersey, both in the community and in our economy. We can say, you know, if you're going to Delhi or Mumbai, there's no other place in the United States that can get you there as easily as as Newark or the tri-state airports. And so that's our big pitch. We have the largest port in the East Coast. If the tariffs take place, my guess is we'll have the largest port in the country, because the West Coast will get a little bit more disrupted more than the East Coast. Yeah, that's a big part of it. And folks, particularly in the real economy, if you will, that resonates deeply.
Yesterday, you also mentioned some exciting announcements or things happening in the film and entertainment sector in New Jersey as well, and big deals. Would you tell us a little bit more?
I feel like go like this in front of you. We've become a globally significant player in film and television. And again, I think you have to look, if you're a person, if you're a mission, a state for sure, a company, you got to look in the mirror every morning and ask yourself, who am I? Who am I not? Who can I be, who I cannot be? And we look in the mirror, and again, we see innovation, but we also see the fact that film was invented in New Jersey. Right? So yeah, so how crazy is that? The first studio ever anywhere was in New Jersey in 1888 before it migrated out to California. And so we said, you know what, we're a talent-heavy state. There's no reason why we can't be significant again in that business. You have to make the math work, so you need incentives, which we've got, and we're now globally significant. We compete with the UK, with the state of Georgia, globally, including for the big pictures. Netflix is building a 300-acre campus in New Jersey. Lionsgate is building a big campus in Newark. I mentioned last night the 1888 Studios, by the way, that's the year film was invented, is going to be built in Bayonne. So there's a lot of really, again, it's in that innovation
and
space.
The proximity to New York City helps.
It helps a ton. It's a big organized labor state. So there's literally a 25-mile radius from Columbus Circle that if you're within that radius, you get some pretty attractive labor deals, and that's a big part of this. New York's got talent. Jersey's got talent. I mean, listen, Jersey, you know this. Bruce Springsteen, John Bon Jovi, Meryl Streep. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we're taking, to some extent, advantage of that.
That's great. The other big thing happening next year is the World Cup. And New Jersey is going to play a big role.
I bet.
And it's soccer. The World Cup was hosted in Qatar last cycle, and it was very popular in this region.
Yeah.
And, with more Middle Eastern countries playing the game and having teams, it's getting more exciting. Would you tell us a little bit about the plan?
So it's a great, by the way, the first American soccer match ever was in Kearney, New Jersey, in Hudson County, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so we've become a very big deal in the world of soccer. Next year, we will host in New Jersey. I know folks from Jersey, like you and me and our friends, when they hear this, they almost can't believe it. We will host the World Cup final.
That's amazing.
It's crazy, right? July 19th, 2026, we'll host 8 matches. We're co-hosting with New York City and they've been great partners. People say, why New York City? I say, listen, we've got the stadium and they've got New York City, so that's a good combination. My wife, the First Lady, is the chair of the host committee. We've got a couple of other host committee members on our delegation with us. 8 matches, 5 first round, 2 eliminations, and the final. It will be watched, according to FIFA, by 3.7 billion people, most watched event in human history. And then if that weren't enough, this summer, by the way, beginning next month, it's hard to believe, we will host the first ever Club World Cup. We'll have 9 matches in New Jersey, 5 first round, a quarterfinal, both semis, and the final.
Oh, wow.
And that's clubs. So El Ain or El Ain FC will be one of those 32 clubs. And also a bunch of household names like Chelsea and Man City and Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and Dortmund and Porto and others. So that'll be exciting. And it'll give us a chance in New Jersey to try it out, test it out.
Exactly.
At MetLife Stadium, the transit, the NJ Transit, the security, the fan experience, the tourism, you betcha. So this is a great warm-up, if you will, for us. So Jersey's going to be soccer central, or as they say out here, football central for the next couple of years.
That's great. And then you have a lot of exciting announcements I hear coming up later this afternoon from the visit. Can you give us a little bit of your impression on your visit leading the trade delegation here, particularly in the UAE, why it's important for subnational entities like the states to come out and do these trade delegations and the kind of announcements?
Yeah, that's a great point. So on these trips, we usually have several types of announcements. One is we're big believers in education, and that can be not just good in and of itself, but it can be a big economic development weapon. And so we've got 5 universities represented on this trip. We're going to sign some memoranda of understanding later today. Those are important. We just don't do those for the sake of, hey, let's put our name on it. These are deep research engagement, person to person, back and forth. We'll send some professors or students your way. We'll do the same, et cetera. Secondly, we have job announcements. Dollars invested in New Jersey, jobs created is frankly job number 1 on these missions. So we're going to have a big announcement with HotPack later today. Don't tell anybody. And that's going to be a big deal. They're already in New Jersey, but they're going to make an announcement about how they're going to ratchet up that presence, which is a big deal. And then thirdly, there's a lot of, in this part of the world in particular, some places you go, it's those first 2 categories. Memoranda of understanding, typically with higher ed, and job announcements. And we love both of those. This one will have that, but it will also have, this has been a capital investment intensive mission, whether it's in Saudi, Bahrain, but especially here in the UAE, both in Abu Dhabi and here in Dubai. So we're talking whether it's investment in AI infrastructure, data centers will be a great example in infrastructure, period. Yeah, we're the most densely populated, best situated state in America. You know the place very well. Getting infrastructure to work is a big deal. Lots of investment opportunities. We've got a big solar company with us. A film studio is with us. Some real estate folks are with us. So there's also a big capital angle. And all in all, this has been a really successful mission.
That's great. And then for one final question, I wanted to mention, we run entrepreneurship incubator programs here in the UAE with support from the State Department for women and youth entrepreneurs. And one of our entrepreneurs last year runs a business called the Broth Lab, and she went to Select USA Department of Commerce trade show last year and signed a deal through Lulu, and she's going to be exporting to the New Jersey market. But I know you're doing a lot to support entrepreneurs in the state with attracting VC capital. Do you want a final comment on?
Yeah. So, by the way, we were hanging with the Lulu folks yesterday. They're a big presence in Lyndhurst, not too far from Patterson. And by the way, I'll be at Select USA personally in a couple of weeks, I think a week from Monday, a little bit earlier this year. And that's been a hugely important forum. That started way back when I was an ambassador, in my case in Germany, and that's become a really big deal. Yeah, we care deeply about entrepreneurs. We care deeply about venture capital finding its way. You know, we had, as a state, kind of lost our way on VC. We're now back in the top 3 with California and New York in terms of inbound. My wife's done a lot with an entity called Golden Seeds, which is specific to developing women entrepreneurs. We've got a women and minority seed fund in our Economic Development Authority to pick two weapons that we use aggressively. Again, it won't be, just take AI as the best, probably the hottest example. It won't be enough that we develop in New Jersey the best ecosystem, the most talent, the most companies, you name whatever it is, if it's power in the hands of very few. We got to make sure that everything we touch has equity at the center stage, and that everybody can access the great development and steps we're taking, not just some of us. So we're thrilled by that as well.
Thank you so much, Governor, for joining us and inspiring our listeners. Good luck with the announcements today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.